Hi there, my friends. Get ready for an amazing adventure through an incredible story from the Bible. It's the story of a brave young woman named Esther who loved the Lord, and how God used her to save the Jewish people from a big problem. In our story, you'll meet Esther and her uncle Mordecai, who play important roles. There's also the mighty King Ahasuerus and a powerful figure named Haman. Our adventure begins with a grand feast, hosted by King Ahasuerus, who ruled over a massive empire. During the feast, something quite surprising happens that leads to a royal quest. We'll discover how Esther, with Mordecai's guidance, becomes a key character in this incredible story. So, are you excited to learn about Esther and her extraordinary journey? This is a wonderful true story of a young woman who loved the Lord, and how God used her to save the Jewish people from destruction. Here are the main characters in the story. On the left is Esther and her uncle Haman. Next is King Ahasuerus and a powerful man called Haman. The Bible opens the story of Esther with a feast hosted by the ruler of the Medes and Persians, King Ahasuerus. It was attended by all the important people in his vast empire. During the feast, the king decided to call his wife to entertain the guests, so he sent a servant to fetch her. But the queen refused to attend. The king was furious at this snub. "What should I do with my wife who refused to obey me?" he fumed to his wise men. "Well," they said, "if you don't punish her, all the women in the land will copy her." So they suggested that the king made an example of the queen by replacing her. The king liked this idea. A royal proclamation was made throughout the kingdom of Persia, calling for all suitable young women to apply for the position of queen. One of the king's subjects was a man called Mordecai. He was a Jew who lived near the palace. Mordecai was the uncle of a beautiful young woman called Esther. He was her guardian and looked after her. When Mordecai heard the king was looking for a new queen, he suggested that Esther apply. She agreed to try. Esther went to the palace and joined the other beautiful women. A whole year passed as the women were given beauty treatments and perfumes in preparation. Then, one by one, they went to see the king. At last, it was Esther's turn. As soon as the king saw Esther, he fell in love with her. He liked Esther more than all the other young women hoping to become queen. The king announced that Esther should be crowned and become the new queen of Persia. Soon after Esther became queen, Mordecai heard about a plot to kill the king. 2 men, Bigthan and Teresh, were involved. Mordecai told Esther about the plot, and Esther reported them to the king. The king was very angry. He had Bigthan and Teresh arrested and put on trial. They were both found guilty. The king sentenced them both to death. Haman and Esther had saved the king's life, and the king's scribes wrote an account of this plot in their history of the king's reign. Let's find out what happened next week in part 2 of the story.